caveat, we went on tour years back, and you know, it was my first time ever really like engaging with y'all, and I just remember your personality, like you did not mince words. You were just raw and real. Like you weren't fake, and it was something that I appreciated. So like you could go from being like, why we ain't ancient to we need to pray for them. And I was like, oh, I like her. You know what I'm saying? But I felt the realness and the authenticity, and I think, man, that's just something that's missing, especially in an industry where everyone's got to have the look of, I don't know, whatever look people gotta have.
Yeah.
You know, so why are you so real? Where are you from? Talk about it.
You know, from I'm from New York, and sometimes I get sad because people are like, "Oh, yeah, you just like that because you're from New York." But I mean, I think there's some truth to that. But I do think that I kind of grew up in a family full of people that allowed me to ask questions and to be curious and to say what I thought. That they kind of allowed my creativity to flourish, and so I always felt free to kind of say what I was thinking without fear of being rejected. And now sometimes I'm like, girl, you really should pull back a little bit on that. And you know, I had some lessons. I think I've learned discretion through the years. That was a hard lesson to learn, but yeah, I just feel like why would I be somebody else? I think when people fall in love with a false version of you, you can't really assure that you'll actually keep them once you fall in love with them. You know what I mean? Like now I'm gonna lose the person that I love because I wasn't real. They fell in love with a different version of me. So
You just got started. You dropping gems already. That's what we doing.
I mean.
Okay, that's what you do. That's what you do. So okay, siblings.
Yeah, I mean I made a lot of mistakes, but I think too, I was sort of sheltered in the different. We got our stuff, but then also I was in like the creative arts and musical scene, and so I think there's like another little like corner for us there. I went to performing arts high school, and so I wasn't. It's still sin. I used to cut a lot of classes. I almost didn't graduate. You understand?
Okay.
It was wrong, but I was cutting to write songs. You know what I mean? I wasn't cutting to go like Jesus. You know what I mean? So it was, there's still some stuff to get into. I think the Lord really kind of kept me protected from.
So, like you're a church girl through and through. Pastor, I mean not pastor, but worship leader kids.
Yes.
Back then, or was it like what's going on?
Okay, I did at first know I could really sing, but then American Idol came out, and I said, okay, I think I can probably really sing. Because these people are really bad. Like, some of these people are really bad. And that's when I really realized, like, oh, my friends aren't just gassing me up. And I would audition for things, and I would get it, and I'm like, okay, man, like, you probably can really sing. And because it was something that I love to do, I'm like, make that shit.
So your parents, they were like, yo, get up here and sing with us. Really? Why?
I don't know. I mean, what's interesting is like, I mean, no, like I would maybe, no. I don't know. And actually, I should ask them why. But they never pressured me to sing. I just would always, I'd be in my room, I'd write songs, I'd be singing, and they'd just be like, yeah. Like, and they would bring me with them to the studio. They were artists. And they traveled and did ministry like that. And I got to go, like, as I got older, around 16, I think it was like my first trip with them, ministry trip. But I mean, I sat in the studio with them. You know what they did do? They allowed me to sing on their album, like record. Okay. But it was never like, come on, like, girl, you should be a singer. It was always like, whatever you want to do.
That's crazy. Powerful as your voice is, and your folks like, that's cute, baby. Good song. So you weren't singing worship in like middle school, high school?
I started on the worship team in junior high.
Okay.
At my church.
Okay.
And I think that's where I met my mentor. His name is Ben Harding. He's a Tony Award winner. He was in Dreamgirls. He played Curtis. everything. And he really taught me about God. And I remember there's one thing that he would always say. He's like, we don't worship God, we worship God. And he would like it would be like forever. And I'm like, oh my God, like you're bigger than who I thought you were. And you kind of helped me see how I could use my gifts. That's, I think, where I really kind of cultivated, I guess, this desire to use what I had to really serve the Lord. You know what I mean? Not just, because don't you have songs where you like, the song is for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then there's songs where it's not for you at all. Like it's all for him, but like there's, you know what I mean?
Yep.
I think that's where I kind of was like, okay, my gift is not for me. It's not just because I like to do it. I think this is something that I can do to actually serve the Lord and to help people see him better.
So you're harnessing your gift. You are, singing with Tony Award winners, understanding like, oh, this is my God, and stealing 4 quarters and hanging out with cigarette smokers.
Cigarette.
But I'm trying to like, what kind of church environment was it? A strict one? Was it like growing up? Like was it like very like, hey, don't do like? Because my mom grew up in church. Her church experience was much different than mine. Hers was like very rigid, no pants, no makeup, no nothing. Versus like my kids are, I'm like, y'all good? You know what I mean? So I'm just curious, like, how was yours?
It was not strict or rigid at all. I went to a mega church, so I think that kind of gives people an understanding. Like there was, it's like you have youth ministry, but there's not a lot of like oversight.
So you got all kinds running around.
Yes. Yes. And we got ministry. There was dedicated ministry to us.
Yeah.
And we received, and we had moments, and we went on retreats, and had, those were the moments that you had with God, right? But there was also like not a lot of like accountability or like, hey, maybe you really shouldn't do that. There was a lot of cliques and folks, and because my parents were in crowd, people don't really say anything to you because they just didn't want the drama. It was, yeah.
So I'm just curious because, like, in church culture, we got like levels of, oh, this is the really bad ones. These are, well, you was just hanging out with cigarette smokers versus you selling drugs, and we fast forward and you love the Lord, but then you end up having a kid.
Pregnant. That's
pregnant.
That's the worst thing.
Pregnant. So it's like the church tends to be like, she pregnant. She out here sleeping around. Just all of the things. I'm just curious, like, how did you navigate that? How did the church handle it? How did your parents handle it? Like, what's that looking like at the time?
It was, so because of the type of church I went to, I think everything was very under the carpet. Everything was, okay, we're going to kind of act like this is not happening.
Walk suck.
Like you. But then also it's like a prolonged trauma because people are finding out for 3 years. My baby's 2. Why he just found out, that I had it was really hard because my big daddy boyfriend at the time, he was a rapper that just got signed to the label at the church, and I got sat down, but he did not. And so there's just like a lot of stuff that happened that we kind of had to walk through and navigate, and it was tough, but there was something I remember, because I've been writing songs my whole life, and that's like part of my communication with the Lord. There was a song that the Lord had me to write when I was pregnant, and it was called Blessing and Rain. And of course. But it was basically like, this is hard, this is bad, but there's a blessing in here.
Blessing and rain.
Yes.
Oh, you better.
Hello, I was just trying to, But I didn't know my daughter yet. I didn't know that she would literally be like, to me, she is like God's grace personified to me. That He can do something good out of my mistakes, out of my bad situation, even when things were not fair between me and my baby daddy. I don't know why you have to say good thing like that, but it's
Father of my child.
Yes. I feel like the Lord was teaching me then, okay, this sucks, this is not good, but I can still be good. And that's literally how I got through it. I wish, can I tell you the truth? I wish, well, I'll always tell you the truth. Now, I might not tell you the whole, never mind. I think.
You can tell it. You can just a deep in it. Go for it.
All right. I feel bad giving that answer. Because I feel like that answer is so nice little Christian answer that like God just worked it out and He was so good. Yeah. But it's true. But it's true. Like it was hard. It sucked, but I didn't focus on that. I really believed the scripture, like whatever's good, whatever's lovely, whatever's pure. Like think on these things. Like don't focus on the negative thing. Girl, you pregnant. You're gonna have to have this baby. You're gonna have to have it. I was more scared about labor or anything else, you know? Like there were these things, it's like, hey, you are here now and you have to live this out. And now what are you gonna do? Are you gonna sink? Are you gonna fall apart? I remember my dad, when I told my parents when I was pregnant, it was I think that's probably the hardest day of my life for real. And my dad was like, okay, first of all, he said, you don't have to get married. That's what they told us, like, you don't have to get married. They were like, just because they didn't want us to feel like we had to do something to try to fix it. We did that anyway, but there was this, I remember my dad, he just was like, do you have clothes? How are your clothes fitting? I thought my dad was going to kill me. Do you understand? Like literally slap me and my head roll up.
Wow.
And just roll down the street. And then I don't have to worry about being pregnant anymore. You guys can find out because I'm dead. My dad looks at me and instead of yelling, instead of screaming, he goes, how are your clothes fitting? Let's go to the mall tomorrow and get you some new clothes. And I remember walking through the mall with my dad, feeling this weird mix of shame. The whole drive was crazy, but like shame, but also like I'm loved in the middle of this, and it was so uncomfortable. But that's the thing that carries me through a lot of this. I'm like, okay, two things can be true at the same time. Out of what I've done, I know that I'm covered, I'm protected, I'm loved, and I'm gonna be okay.
That it reminds me in a weird way, but it's almost like you were talking about the drive and the covering. It's almost like, all right, Adam, let me kill this deal real quick. That's what it felt. It's like, I'm gonna cover you. Like that's. So I just want to camp out here for a second because I'm just curious. But like, what do you say to the young lady in the church who everybody falls short. People are making mistakes. People they don't want to live a lifestyle of disobedience. But then that you may have repented, but you get pregnant.
I think what I've learned is that I had to start to understand what sin is really about. And I think in my rearing and growing up, I thought sin was just the thing you shouldn't do because then God wouldn't love it. But I realized sin is the thing we shouldn't do because it creates a life that is more difficult to live in love. Right? And so, mind you, it's also the thing that allows us to see His love, right? For us. But I say this to my daughter sometimes because I always want, when I do stuff like this, so my kids are able to watch this and I never know how this is really going to affect them, right? I never want my daughter to feel like she's a mistake. She's not a mistake. I was a bad choice, but the Lord blessed me with you. But I want her to know, like, this was an opportunity for me to see God's grace and His kindness. And although, I want to say this carefully, I'm grateful for what God has done in my life through her, but I think that if I'd made different choices, there are probably some hard things she may not have had to go through. And so, to me, I don't want to live a life of sin because I don't think it's the best life that we can live in a way that we want to honor the Lord. And it's like you can't unscramble eggs. You can't unsay what was said. Bad, but I won't say it. You can't undo what's done. And to me, that's the message that I want to give to young ladies. It's not just about being pregnant or young men. It's like, hey, like, yes, God covers sin and He loves us and releases us and deals with us and all of that. But there's something that happens. There are consequences and it matters. And some of the consequences are really yummy and like really good because I don't think consequences. Okay. So I'm looking to see a post that Bethel Music is doing a worship thing with Black worship leaders. And I was like, that is so first to have a Black History Month thing. So that's so cool because, you know, that's not common for them. So I hit the guy and I'm like, yo, this is so cool. I said, but I see there's only guys. You should have a girl. What about Casey J? And he's like, what about you? And I'm like, oh! And I'm like, oh no. And he's like, yeah, like, will you come? And I was like, and I just heard the voice say, yes. Say yes. So I'm like, yes. I go out there to do this all Black worship leader set at Bethel, and that's where I first met Chandler. I met Dante before. I met Tony, who was the founder, JJ, who's the founder, and that's when we did the first recording, Volume 1. It literally just happened.
That's crazy. So y'all was kind of like Avengers in a sense. Like y'all just is like, y'all been fighting crime over here. Oh, I've been fighting crime over here. Y'all want to fight crime together? It's just like, just the good part about that is you get like the most amazing talent all in one room. What's the word I can say for this? The potential problem with something like that is y'all have not established a sense of community with each other, and now it's kind of like y'all are random people just like, hey, it's like, oh, I don't really. So how?
And some of us had already previous community.
That part as well. So it's like, hey, I'm already here. I don't. To me, if it was me, because I'm just gonna talk about a lesser sanctified version of myself. There would probably be a little ego wrestle in there. There would probably be a little.
No.
Just me. It's me, not you.
Never.
Not you. Just me. Maybe a little ego wrestle in there. Maybe a little. I don't even like you, but I gotta do this. You know, a lot of like components but yet we have to be here. And it's funny because I'm a human. I know the human aspect of stuff. But when I think of like, I don't know, fans who say stuff like, I want the old Maverick City back. It was so pure.
I'm like, me too, Chad, but no. I'm like, no, but yes, but no. It's like everything you said. Okay, but can I say this though? Yes. We actually did develop a community.
Okay.
Now, I will go on record as saying that everybody says that I'm naive, but I actually think I was sober during this time, and I was able to see things, and I'm the oldest thing in that.
Okay.
You understand? Okay. So, not to like, teach my own horn, mature. No, I think we did build a community because we wrote those songs together.
Okay.
And so we started out in those writing camps. There was something special that happened we really did have a connection. But it's giving work friends. You know what I mean? And then you go back home because most of us didn't live in the same city. There were a few of us that did. And I think that the people responded with what they wanted. And when you're not the choice, that's very hard. And when you are the choice, that's very hard. And so you have to know how to handle that and navigate that. I think we all were very ambitious in thinking that we could get through all of that unscathed, and that, you know, I grew up watching the Temptations movie. I grew up watching the Jackson 5 American Dream and My Heartbeat, okay? And I'm like, I live these movies out there, end up living. Where's Eddie? Okay?
Dream girls.
Okay. Literally, like, this is what you see, you realize, oh, this is just a human thing. And I think that a lot of these folks that we were singing with were young, and I think it was a little bit too much too fast. And I think that there were some people that did not cover us and help us. And I think that some people didn't want to be covered. And so, I mean, you were there. You were with us on our first tour. That was the best time.
It was the best time. It was the worst time.
People struggle. It's hard when until it was over. So a lot of my process came because I tell you, hello, you're pregnant, you gotta have a baby, you're gonna be a mother, you're gonna raise this child, you're gonna do right. That was my scope. And so I'm like, what? You're in a crazy world and you're doing things, you're gonna do it, and you're gonna love the Lord, you're gonna do right, don't sin against nobody, try to watch it now, shut up, do this, speak up. So like you're gonna make the interview, you're gonna do whatever, and do what you have to do, try to honor the Lord, and then when you get home, you'll deal with it. And I got home, I dealt with it.
Sheesh.
Went through a lot. There was so much. And then you gotta remember too, at the same time, people from both sides in the industry did not like us because of it. And so there was no real safe space. The gospel industry saying we're taking over gospel music and making something that it's not, it's wrong, and we shouldn't do that. Some of these people that would speak to us individually and be like, I love you, but I hate what you're doing. While behind our back, and in the CCM side, it was the same thing. It was, oh, they're taking up the space, profit shares, and we're hearing about money. It was money, what? They just trying to say, you know what I mean? And so it was like, there was no real space for us to be. For me, I'm like, I'm in my bunk at night, and I'm like, Jesus, please. Like, Jesus, I'm doing this for you. Like, that's it. And